Let's get you started with some breaking news that's coming in, and this is to do with what transpired with a SpiceJet aircraft. The outer wheel of a SpiceJet aircraft operating from Kandla to Mumbai was found at the runway after takeoff. CNN News 18 has now accessed these visuals that you see on your screens of what exactly transpired. The aircraft continued its journey from Kandla to Mumbai. It was able to land safely as well, but the fact that it left behind one of its wheels after takeoff has now triggered panic, has now raised questions over how it was allowed to take off in the first place. Anvit, my colleague, now joins us, getting us more details. Anvit, we are given to understand that there was a smooth landing when it landed in Mumbai, that all the passengers are safe as well. But there are several questions that do emerge out of this, isn't it?
Certainly, Poonam, so certainly the mechanical inspection of the aircraft and maintenance is under the question here. And usually, just for the viewers, I would say that usually the outboard wheel is one of the two halves of a typical two-piece aircraft wheel, which are joined together to hold the tire and the brake discs together. Now, these wheels are a vital component of the landing gear because they support the aircraft's weight during ground operations and also help it absorb the shock. Now, any problem in the outer wheel can really, in this particular case, while the outer wheel came off the plane, it really was a sensitive matter. And luckily, the pilots were informed, and they had informed the ATC Mumbai in time, and they were first responders already on standby when the plane was approaching Mumbai airstrip. But see, these Q400 are small aircraft. There are 70 to 80 passengers on board, and these are mostly used for regional connectivity, and that is why this plane was also coming in from Kandla to Mumbai, which is a small distance. And but the moment the aircraft took off, one of the outer wheels came off. However, the pilots managed to land the aircraft safely at Mumbai airport, and once it landed, all the passengers were marked safe, and no one had received any injury. It did not transform into any disastrous moment. However, there is questions on the mechanical inspection of the fleet of the SpiceJet, because the coming off of the wheel is certainly a serious matter, and this could have also led to any serious incident, as there were people on board the aircraft, and therefore this would certainly be reported to DGC, and DGC can further, looking at the gravity of this matter, require an order and separate inquiry also into the entire case, because DGC, particularly after the AI-17 crash, had been reiterating that the maintenance of aircraft has to be done on priority, and it had also ordered multi-layered checks and maintenance of all the fleets of all the airlines that have been operating in India after that.
Right, and recently there was, after the Air India crash, there was a directive from the DGCA for all airlines to ensure that their safety inspections were done thoroughly. Was mechanical inspections not a part of that particular directive that came in from the aviation watchdog, Anvit?
It certainly was, and the airlines had also sent a report to DGCA confirming that they have completed the mechanical checks. But it would be important to look into this matter as to what led to this particular incident. Was it any mechanical flaw that may have led to this outer wheel coming off the flight, or there could have been any other incident, or maybe any incident took place on the previous flight of this particular aircraft Q400 that led to this incident. So all these things will need to be looked into. Presently, the aircraft has been set where it is being attended by technical experts and engineers of the aircraft. But later on, a detailed inspection will also be done, and only the airline officials have said that only once the aircraft is perfectly fine, only then will it be sent back and pressed into service.
Right, Anvit, thank you so much for getting us the latest on that front. Moving on now to the big political face-off that has erupted just ahead of Bihar elections. Bihar Congress posted an AI-generated video showing Prime Minister Modi dreaming of his late mother, scolding him over his politics. The clip has now sparked fierce backlash from the BJP, which has condemned it as an insult not just to the Prime Minister's mother, but for women across the nation and the poor as well. BJP leaders have now accused the Grand Old Party of spreading hate under the guise of political satire. Even as the Bihar Congress said that they will look into who is responsible for this particular tweet and take action, Congress party has defended that video. Pawan Khera, in fact, has gone on to say that he doesn't see an ounce of disrespect in that video, and that it wasn't the mockery of the Prime Minister or his mother, that this was only satire, and the Congress party should learn to take it. And the BJP should learn to take it, I beg your pardon.
सौरभ जी, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आपका जो ट्वीट आया है ना बिहार कांग्रेस का एआई जनरेटेड पीएम के मदर पे, उसको लेके देयर इज बीन अ लॉट ऑफ कंट्रोवर्सी एंड द क्रिटिसिज्म इज दैट यू आर मेकिंग अ पर्सनल अटैक ऑन द प्राइम मिनिस्टर, ब्रिंगिंग इन द मदर हु इज नॉट इवन इन्वॉल्व्ड.
Yeah, you are correct, Pallavi ji. Absolutely correct. Mother is mother. You need one mother is mother. Just I want to ask one question. In 2014, the PM Narendra Modi was asked a question about the Nitish Kumar DNA, and it was also controversial. And we are waiting like maybe someday he asked apology for the Bihari people, क्योंकि हम लोग पूरे बिहार वो जो उन्होंने स्टेटमेंट दिया था वो पूरे बिहार के मदर के खिलाफ था। ऐसा नहीं था कि सिर्फ मुख्यमंत्री जी की, उसमें मुख्यमंत्री जी की मदर का देहांत हो चुका था और वो जिस तरह का स्टेटमेंट था वो सही बिल्कुल नहीं था। और उसके बाद भी जो हमारी जो अभी रिसेंट में जिस तरीके से बीजेपी आईटी सेल के द्वारा लगातार सोनिया गांधी जी का, प्रियंका जी के बारे में, राहुल जी के बारे में, इवन हाल फिलहाल में हमारे दलित जो राष्ट्रीय नेता हैं खड़गे जी जो हमारे राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष है, उनके बारे में कई चीजें जो उन्होंने डाली है, तो क्या वो मतलब सही है? इसका मतलब
Payal, my colleague now joins us, getting us more perspective on this. Payal, this is an issue that has been handed to the BJP on a platter, and they are going to make it an election issue right ahead of the elections, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. You know, every time that the Congress party or the opposition parties have poked fun and made personal remarks on the Prime Minister, it is only boomeranged against him. Whether they called him a chaiwala in the past or whether they called him chore. You remember Rahul Gandhi coined a term saying Chokidar Chore at the issue of Rafale as well. That completely backfired because every supporter of BJP, every supporter of Prime Minister Narendra Modi then made it on their social media platform essentially saying that, you know, हम मोदी का परिवार है और चौकीदार मैं भी चौकीदार हूँ. Those kind of comments have come in as well. But you know, in the last fortnight or so, multiple remarks have been made on the Prime Minister's family, the Prime Minister's mother, who is no longer in this world as well. So therefore, the Prime Minister, when he was speaking, also said that why drag my mother into this entire conversation? My mother is not even into politics, and she's no longer there. So there's dignity in death that everybody really seeks, Poonam. And you know, there are some political niceties that nobody really crosses. But the BJP will be making this an issue and saying that this is exactly the character of the Congress party. This is exactly the character of the RJD. And of course, that's the reason the people of Bihar need to be very wary of them. Remember, the Bihari society is very, very deeply ingrained, a family-oriented society as well. And people, especially women, don't take such things very, very kindly. It is the women in Bihar who actually stood behind Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Nitish Kumar, despite the fact that the last election in the assembly looked like the election that the BJP was not going to win from a far margin. But the fact that Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Nitish Kumar were able to impose the liquor ban and ensure that it was implemented, that is something which actually was very, very instrumental. And the women were completely convinced that Prime Minister Narendra Modi was somebody who did not let them sleep hungry because of the COVID impact as well. So all these things do have a bearing, and the BJP and the JDU will definitely be milking this issue.
Right, Payal, thank you so much for getting us that perspective. Political reactions, meanwhile, are trickling in thick and fast. Several union ministers have lined up to remind the Congress party that some things should be left out of politics. Let's listen in to some of those reactions.
देखिए, बिहार कांग्रेस बिहार के संस्कृति संस्कार से दूर जा चुका है। ये अराजकता का प्रतीक है।
प्रधानमंत्री जी और प्रधानमंत्री जी का मां को लेके कांग्रेस जो भी काम कर रहा है ये निंदनीय है और बिहार का जनता उसे कांग्रेस को सबक भी सिखाएगा। और मैं विश्वास करता हूं कि देश का जनता भी बहुत ही आक्रोशित है।
राजनीति का स्तर कितना हल्का हो सकता है ये आरजेडी, राजद और कांग्रेस ने बता दिया है।
इसमें बीजेपी को आपत्ति क्या है? इसमें अपमान कहाँ हुआ, किसका हुआ? नसीहत देना माता पिता का कर्तव्य होता है, तो माता पिता का अपमान तो नहीं है अगर वो नसीहत दे रहे हैं। तो नसीहत लेने वाला अगर उसको अपना अपमान मान ले, जो इस केस में नरेंद्र मोदी हैं, तो वो नरेंद्र मोदी का हेड है कि हमारा नहीं। इसमें अपमानजनक एक शब्द बता दीजिए उनकी माता जी के प्रति हुआ हो तो। ये बार बार हर चीज़ को मुद्दा बनाना, हर चुनाव से पहले अपनी माता जी को लेकर आना और छुई बन के राजनीति करना सिर्फ नरेंद्र मोदी को ही आता है, हमें तो नहीं आता।
इनके पास कुछ कहने को है, हालांकि हमने वो वीडियो नहीं देखा, ठीक है, लेकिन इन लोगों को अपना हिसाब देने के बजाय जानबूझ के इशू को डाइवर्ट करने का अपना काम भाजपा करती है और कोई नहीं। भाजपा ने जितना अपमानित किया है, नरेंद्र मोदी जी के अपशब्द सब लोगों ने सुने हैं, किसी से छुपा नहीं। तो बिहार के मुख्यमंत्री नीतीश कुमार जी को डीएनए का गाली दी है, इससे बड़ा क्या गाली हो सकती?
ये बहुत ही शर्मिंदगी भरा है। क्या यही स्तर है कांग्रेस पार्टी का? क्या आप हमारे प्रधानमंत्री की स्वर्गीय मां का मीम बनाते हैं, वो भी इतने घटिया स्तर का? कहां तक गिरेंगे आप? यही कांग्रेस का स्तर है। इसके हम बहुत भर्त्सना करते हैं और पूरे देश में इसको और हम बड़ा विषय बनाएंगे। एक बार प्रधानमंत्री की मां का अपमान किया, देश में उसकी भर्त्सना हुई, दुनिया में उसकी भर्त्सना हुई। जो मां स्वर्गीय हो चुकी है, जिसका राजनीति से कोई मतलब नहीं रहा है, उसको लेकर, जिसने अपनी गरीबी में एक बर्तन मांज के बच्चों को पढ़ाया और प्रधानमंत्री बनाया, उसको लेके आप इतनी हल्की बातें कर रहे हैं? शर्म आनी चाहिए। और मैं पूछूंगा राहुल गांधी जी, क्या जवाब है इसका कि आज के बिहार प्रदेश के ऑफिशियल ट्वीट से इसको ट्वीट किया गया है? पूछूंगा सोनिया गांधी जी, क्या जवाब है आपका? बहुत भर्त्सना करते हैं इसका।
जब ये गाड़ी अंदर निकालते हैं बीजेपी वाले, राहुल गांधी ने तो कभी नहीं रोकर कहा। माँ जो है वो, चाहे वो सोनिया गांधी भी माँ ही है, तो और इनकी माँ की हम ज़्यादा रिस्पेक्ट करते हैं कि कोई भी माँ है, मेरी माँ है, जब जूली साहब की है, इनकी है, तो यार माँ को ऐसे पॉलिटिक्स में लेकर आना मेरे ख्याल की शर्म वाली बात है। माँ का दर्जा बहुत ऊंचा है पॉलिटिक्स के से ऊपर।
मेरा तो सीधे तौर पे कहना है कि कहानी को यहीं मत रुकने दीजिए। ये पूछिए कि जर्सी गाय किसने कहा था, ये पूछिए भैंस मंगलसूत्र मुजरा कौन बोल रहा था, ये पूछिए कि कांग्रेस की विधवा कौन बोल रहा था, ये पूछिए कि न जाने कितनी चीज पूछे। विमर्श में जो जहर घोला जा रहा है वो सारे दलों के लिए चिंता का विषय होना चाहिए। लेकिन आजकल बिलो द बेल्ट बोल करके लोग सीढ़ियां चढ़ते जाते हैं, उन सीढ़ियों को बंद करिए।
Shifting focus now to the eerie calm or the tension that still prevails in Nepal after the violent protests that claimed 51 lives on the 9th of September. It's been 2 days since those dramatic protests and the fall of the KP Sharma Oli government. But there's political uncertainty that prevails in Nepal. The army is enforcing curfews, they're patrolling the streets, but the search for an interim government and its leader continues. Preparations are underway at the Singha Darbar, where a newly built facility, originally meant for the Ministry of Home Affairs, is now being readied to house the interim leader and the Council of Ministers. However, forming the interim government has hit a deadlock. Reports suggest that there are several divisions whether the parliament should be dissolved or not, whether former Chief Justice Sushila Karki can assume office. Even as the Gen Z protesters want her to take over, it seems like the legal options are very limited, which is why there is no solution just as yet. Within the Gen Z movement as well, there are several factions that are supporting different leaders. Some are backing the former Chief Justice, some others are favouring Kathmandu's popular mayor, Balen Shah. Engineer Kulman Gaising is also one of those in contention. But as far as who is going to be the leader is concerned, even if there is consensus on that, what happens to the parliament as a whole? Is that dissolved or not? That's something that remains to be a sticking point between the army, the president of Nepal and these Gen Z leaders.
Hectic parley is underway at two places in Kathmandu, one at the army headquarters and other at the Sheetal Niwas, where I am reporting from. In fact, you can see large number of army personnel are deployed outside Sheetal Niwas, and in fact in this entire area where I am reporting from, we've been told that around 2 p.m. there is going to be a very crucial meeting which will be taking place inside Sheetal Niwas, and Sushila Karki will be taking part in this meeting along with the Gen Z protesters. President of Nepal will be present, and we have been told that this meeting is going to be the decisive meeting. So in fact what Nepalese media is reporting that by tonight Nepal could get the new leader. In fact, the efforts are being made to build consensus within the Gen Z faction, and perhaps that is the challenge at this point in time. But we've been told that by evening, Nepal could get the new leader. Behind me is the Hilton Hotel, which was set ablaze by the rioters the other day, and in fact, you can see the smoke from this building is still coming out. We can still see the smoke around this building. This building has fully got gutted, and right now we are reporting outside the Hilton Hotel in Kathmandu.
Top sources, in fact, are now telling us that that meeting is currently underway between the President of Nepal, the army and the Gen Z protesters. What we're learning is that the former Chief Justice, Sushila Karki, who seems to be the front-runner, has her own apprehensions about taking over. Interference from opposition, especially politicians of the opposition parties, is something that she fears, is what we're given to understand. There's also a debate over what happens to the parliament. Can the parliament be dissolved or not? That's something that the president and the army is looking at, because that seems to be the one demand that these Gen Z leaders are not ready to budge on. Siddhant, my colleague, now joins us. He's been reporting live from Kathmandu, getting us more details. Siddhant, we're given to understand that that meeting is underway, but there is one sticking point as far as what happens to the parliament, whether it's dissolved or not. Will we have any consensus on it by the end of today?
That's right. This information has been brought to us by Manipur. They have no consensus. Turkey is not keen to take charge. Their interference in our elections now going out of constitutional arrangements. Between the groups and president and political groups, president is clear that parliament can't be involved in the constitution.
To try and reconnect that line with you, we're given to understand that you are in the thick of all the action in Nepal. There's still normalcy that's only just about returning to parts of Nepal, which is why we can understand that there seems to be sketchy network there. CNN News 18, of course, is trying to get you voices from on ground, giving you a sense of what remains after those violent protests on the 9th of September. Remember, several buildings, including the Supreme Court, the Parliament, they were all stone pelted at. They were all set ablaze. Several of these buildings are now completely ashen. The roads are barren as well, because curfew still remains in force. The army there in Nepal, especially in Kathmandu, has been patrolling in a timely manner to ensure that we do not see any such protests again. But who is going to be the next leader of Nepal? Well, CNN News 18 is the only Indian channel to have spoken with the front-runner. Nepal's ex-Chief Justice, Sushila Karki, is somebody who is in contention. In all likelihood, she will be declared as the interim Prime Minister, at least the head of the interim government. Listen in to this exclusive conversation with Anand Narasimhan.
Congratulations on that, but it's a tough ask. Nepal right now does not have any government. There could be the threat of anarchy. You're somebody who's also long led the fight against corruption. So what will be your immediate focus, ma'am?
Immediate focus is first of all the boys and girls who died in the movement. We have to do something for their sympathy, and we have to also do sympathy to. We have to show also cool their parents who are very much. They are in misery on the demise of their children. And next thing, there are so many their demand. One demand is successful, Prime Minister have resigned. That was the first demand of those people. And the next is they want to remove the corruption from the country. And there are other things, many things, but that can be, the other demand can be successful only in that position when there will be set up the government.
You have also passed many verdicts. I was just going back, and you've been very strong, vocal against acts of corruption. Now, do you believe, was that the biggest demand of the Gen Z? What have they requested you to do?
No, they have only asked me. I have not finally talked with them. Yesterday they requested me, not only requested, but what happened that among them they voted in their association. Those girls and boys and the students, they voted on the name of the persons whom they wanted to. And they are saying that I got maximum vote. So they requested me, And they said, ma'am, you can't say that, no. Anyway, we have to be successful after your help. So on that, when they requested me, I accepted that one.
We'll keep a track of what's transpiring in our neighborhood in Nepal, even as those meetings are currently underway. But for now, it's time for a quick break.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network. This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
2 days after Nepal's dramatic Gen Z uprising toppled Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli, the Himalayan nation remains in political limbo. With the army enforcing curfews and patrolling the streets, uncertainty looms over who will lead the interim government. Factions within the Gen Z movement are divided, some backing former Chief Justice Sushila Karki, others rallying behind Kathmandu's popular mayor Balin Shah, engineer Kulman Ghising. The widely respected head of the Nepal Electricity Authority is also among the top contenders for the post. Nepal is slipping into a dangerous political vacuum marked by weak institutions and a fractured leadership, raising fears of an army-backed caretaker regime. According to intelligence source, the collapse of democratic processes has left the Nepal army as the most powerful actor in the country's governance, overshadowing civilian authority and peacekeeping.
We need an interim government for now, for which we have proposed Sushila Karki, because she was the Chief Justice and she has always been fighting for the corruption, against the corruption. That's why right now the first thing is the interim government, the second thing is dissolving the current parliament, and the third thing is maintaining law and order in the country. Our thing is, our country is getting the first lady prime minister. That's a beautiful thing. That's the win situation for all of the females in the country, all of the women in the country.
It was a totally peaceful protest, और हम चाह रहे थे कि शांतिपूर्ण ही हो, बट सरकार ने इसको क्रांति में बदला, हमें लगता है ऐसा है, और सरकार को पूरा रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी लेनी चाहिए इसको। हमने तो एक करप्शन के विरुद्ध आंदोलन शुरू किया था, और जो होना भी चाहिए, सब हर एक जगह के युवा को जागना चाहिए करप्शन के लिए। इधर नेपाल में 3% 4% लोग हैं जो सारा संपत्ति ले रखा है, और नेता तो सारे ही करप्ट है। जो अभी घटना देख रहे हो, इतना बड़ा डिजास्टर जैसे हुआ, वेस्ट, मतलब क्या बोले अब इसको, हम जो हम शब्द में बयान नहीं कर सकते इस चीज़ को, इतना लॉसेस हुए हैं, सारे गवर्नमेंट की जिम्मेवारी है और सारे गवर्नमेंट ने किया है। वी फुली सपोर्ट सुशीला कार्की जी। वी विल इन्वेस्टिगेट ईच एंड एवरी करप्ट लीडर।
We need to understand is like our country is in threat, right? So for the sake of sovereignty, for the sake of independency, for the sake of sovereignty, independency, we have to protect our nation. That is the real scenario right here. So what we need to understand is like we should not fight between each other. We should take our own voice, make our own voice, and pitch them in front of the officials or the real stakeholder. That's the real thing I can say. I cannot say more than that. Thank you so much.
Your good name?
My name is Rehan Raj Dangal.
And we are getting a piece of breaking input. This is a CNN News 18 mega exclusive. Crisis management team to meet again at 9 a.m. today in Nepal. All political parties have agreed to Gen Z demands and consensus is made to adjust Karki. President to work out solution within the constitution. Karki likely to be made Prime Minister today. She will be taken to the upper house of parliament later. Sources say no provision for political interim PM, but space will be created by nominating Sushila Karki to the upper house. Later, she will be elevated to the Prime Minister's post. And we are joined by Siddhant Mishra on this broadcast. Siddhant, is there a consensus within the Gen Z group to choose Sushila Karki as their interim leader and the Prime Minister?
Well, that's right, Harsh. In fact, she is the front runner. There are a couple of meetings lined up today at the army headquarters. In fact, yesterday also there were a lot of meetings happening at the army headquarters. But she looks like to be the front runner. In fact, in all likelihood, today Nepal could get the first interim prime minister. What we've been told is that she is the front runner. There were some issues which were raised by the other factions regarding her candidature, because many say that as per the 2007 interim constitution of Nepal, then the 2015 constitution of Nepal, it prohibits former judges and sitting judges to take office in the government. But then the counter to that is that a person can be elected and come to the house and then take the government post. So that the procedure is there indeed, and that has been this was discussed yesterday in the meeting. So in all likelihood, we could expect Sushila Karki to be the next Prime Minister of Nepal.
Right, Siddhant. Thank you, Siddhant, for that crucial update. And we'll listen into some political reactions.
देखिए, भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ वहाँ एक बिगुल वहाँ की जनता ने बजाया है. हमारी इंटेलिजेंस एजेंसीज का एक बहुत बड़ा फेलियर है, क्योंकि हमारे हजारों लोग वहाँ अभी फंसे हुए हैं. गुजरात के टूरिस्ट हैं, कैलाश मानसरोवर गए थे, कुछ लोग वॉलीबॉल खेलने पोखरा गए थे. ऐसे अनेक उदाहरण आपको मिलेंगे. उनकी सुरक्षा की चिंता हमें हो.
Thank you for staying with us here on Nation at 5. We have some more information that's now trickling in from Nepal, and this is an intelligence assessment here in India that we have access. CNN News18 has accessed this note which reveals that Nepal's current political crisis is both a warning and an opportunity for India. The resignation of KP Sharma Oli closes a chapter of anti-India narrative is what the intelligence apparatus here in India believes. They also see this as a rise of new political players who could align with New Delhi and those who could also ally with China, and that's something that India needs to be wary of. From a security perspective, India cannot afford instability in Nepal is, of course, the clear understanding as far as India's intelligence apparatus goes. Anand Narasimhan, my colleague, now joins us, getting us more details. Anand, what happens in Nepal, of course, will have repercussions in India. Weak governance in Kathmandu will open doors for countries like China to try and penetrate, and that could be detrimental for India and its security as well. So that's something India is wary of.
Yes, good evening, Poonam, and to our viewers. I think there are at a strategic level, there are multiple concerns when it comes to the Indian authorities. How involved should Delhi be? Very clearly, Delhi or Bharat does not want to be involved in Nepal's internal politics, nor does it want to interfere in the demands or what the Gen Z want. But do the Gen Z leaders and many who are being empowered by Gen Z to be part of this interim administration and government, are they aware of the geopolitical dynamics with respect to how Nepal needs to be handled? Nepal is landlocked. Its equation with Bharat is not just of ancient civilizational roots, but also currently of a roti-beti equation where it's as good as free passage just by showing your identity cards, be it Nepali people in Bharat or vice versa. There are nearly 2 crore people who will be affected by what happens in Nepal, in Bharat itself, because of the shared borders with states like Sikkim, Uttarakhand. We have there is Bihar, and of course there is Uttar Pradesh. And so this is going to be significant. They do not want to see any kind of escalation and more there is flux or malgovernance or no governance in Nepal. The more there will be entities who would look at their own strategic benefits to try and dip into the local politics and influence it. And that's where China comes in. And there will be other elements too, especially the Pakistan and its ISI, which are quite active on ground, and they would benefit from perhaps stoking communal strife and seeding those seeds of discord within the Nepal society, which is quite fragile at the moment. Now, Delhi is watching all this very carefully, but I think there are thought processes which say that Delhi would like to get a little more involved in trying to bring stability in Nepal and allowing Nepal, and especially its future generations or next generations and Gen Zs, to be able to develop and figure out a path where Nepal progresses from here on. This is the second time in the last decade that such a big shuffle has happened. 2015 saw a lot of turmoil, and now in 2025, Nepal has been going through this kind of a churn with leadership, monarchy, otherwise, and also what political ideology to follow, what would be the country, what will drive the country's vision and direction forward systematically. And time and again, there have been disagreements over the thought process. This time, there should be clarity. Otherwise, this could snowball into a huge security nightmare also for Bharat.
Absolutely. Anand, thank you so much for getting us those inputs and that perspective. Moving on now to news coming in from here back home, and this is in Tamil Nadu ahead of elections next year. There is a fierce face-off that is brewing between the ruling DMK and TVK. Vijay has now targeted the Stalin government. He says that people have completely lost faith in what he calls are empty, deceptive promises, and that's the model the Stalin government seems to be following. TVK's Vijay there going on to say that the Stalin government and DMK's leaders have been misleading voters with false promises. Purnima, my colleague, now joins us, getting us more details. Purnima, this direct attack coming to the fore by Vijay also comes just a day before he begins this campaign that he is going to be holding statewide ahead of next year's elections?
Absolutely. In fact, Vijay once again hitting out at the ruling government, the DMK government, saying that so many conditions have never been imposed in the history of Tamil Nadu just for a yatra. And that's something that TVK leaders have hit out at the DMK government, saying that it's because the DMK government fears the crowds gathering for Vijay that they've decided to try all ways to stop Vijay from going ahead with his yatra. Therefore, so many conditions have been imposed. It's the first time that such conditions have been imposed. Is a statement that's also come in from Vijay. But this is also the third time that Vijay is attacking the ruling government. Time and again, Vijay has made it clear that his political enemy is the DMK. And yet again, in the statement, he says that the party had to really struggle to get permission for tomorrow's yatra. Remember, 2 to 3 districts will be covered during the yatra, which starts tomorrow, and that will be held on weekend. However, the criticism is that every party has now called TVK a weekend neta, Vijay a weekend neta, because the yatra is scheduled every Saturday or Sunday.
Right, Purnima, thank you so much for getting us the latest on that front. Do keep a track of how the DMK responds to this. Shifting focus now to Karnataka, where a firestorm is brewing over the state government's decision to conduct a new caste census, the cost of which is pegged at 425 crores. Commission chairman has revealed that the initial estimate was about 600 crores, but it was later revised to 450. The survey will differ from the previous ones by the 2 commissions that we saw. While the Kantaraju report was deemed scientific, it was shelved due to outdated data. The BJP has launched a scathing attack now, calling the move huge corruption in the guise of a survey. Opposition is mounting, but the caste census has become a flashpoint in Karnataka's political landscape, with the BJP asking the Congress government why it's wasting precious taxpayers' money on its own political agenda.
Earlier commissions had focused more on assessing the socio-economic status of the persons belonging to backward classes.
Okay.
Now our survey would be different because it touches upon the entire 7 crore population of our state. The questionnaires are not confined to identifying who is backward or what is the level of backwardness, but it touches upon various other aspects of development across the state. So therefore the questions are so designed as to elicit the data to find out which citizen has reached what stage of status, what are his needs, what is wanting in what places.
In Karnataka, in the name of caste survey, there seems to be bigger corruption. When Kantaraj committee was set up, they spent 178 crores additionally and 20 crores. As well, internal reservation for SC community was done by BJP. Just to cross-verify that, they spent 165 crores by setting up a Nag Mohan Das committee and did not do anything more than what BJP had done. They have set up a new caste committee wherein they are saying that we are going to enumerate the data of entire Karnataka now. It is clear and evident that 425 crores will be spent only for the enumerator's salary. Additionally, 200 crores will be set and given for setting up a software and other things. For what kind of a data are they trying to obtain?
See, what is the caste census? It's a socio-economic census to understand the realities of the people in the society. What is their social condition, economic condition, what is their educational backwardness, is the resources of the society is equitably distributed or not. We are doing an X-ray. When you go to take an X-ray or a CT scan, you need to spend,
analysis,
right?
yes.
You need to have an analysis of that. So today whatever we are spending is to understand what the society is in the present condition and how do we further strengthen the society.
Is there money? Because time and again, it's been said that the coffers are empty. The Congress right now, the government is bankrupt.
It's a political statement. See, anything we do for the poor people, the lower middle class, the marginalized sections, to the Dalits, to the minorities, to the backward classes, BJP has objections. All these guarantees are schemes are going to the poor, to the marginalized, to the women, so BJP is opposed to it. The caste or socio-economic survey will help these women, the Dalits, the marginalized, the backward classes. So this BJP's agenda is to appease those people who are higher in the social hierarchy, higher in the economic hierarchy. So they are feudal lords. Their mentality is that.
Violence in the United States is spiraling out of control. Chilling incidents are shaking the world. A conservative activist, Charlie Kirk, became the target of an attack at a public event that heightened concerns over rising political violence. And now, in a particularly gruesome act, an Indian man was beheaded in Dallas, Texas, in a brazen and horrifying murder case. The horrific act has sent shockwaves through the community, also raising questions about rising hate crimes and safety. As law enforcement works to uncover the motive, questions rise over the country's ability to maintain the order amid such violence. The growing trend of violent attacks in the US is sparking nationwide outrage. It is also calling for stronger action to combat hate-driven violence.
Suspect has a machete. Wednesday morning, something nobody would have expected took place at the Downtown Suites Motel in East Dallas. A man tells us he witnessed a beheading.
Ma'am, this is not normal to happen.
According to the arrest affidavit, police obtained video which shows 37-year-old Jordanis Copos Martinez grab a machete and start stabbing 50-year-old Chandra Nahamalaya multiple times. The victim is seen fleeing down the parking lot towards the front office where his wife and son were.
He chased him from 108 all the way to the office. The man was trying to get in the office to his family.
A witness who saw the entire thing says the wife and son attempted to stop the suspect, but he pushed them away and continued to violate the victim's remains.
I find it sick, disgusting. I'm speechless.
Kind of out of the norm and is mind-blowing.
The affidavit states Dallas Fire arrived first. They saw the suspect covered in blood with a machete in hand, and they were able to catch him down the road. Several sources tell me the victim was a manager at the motel and say the suspect did maintenance there.
I feel bad for his family because he got a wife and a son. They came out. They didn't know what to do. She was screaming and hollering, but I told her to get back in there because I didn't know if he was going to attack her too.
The suspect has been charged with capital murder, and according to Dallas County Jail records, he has an immigration hold for allegedly being in the U.S. without authorization. Records also show he's been arrested for auto theft in Florida and has indecency with a child and assault charges in Houston.
Gen Z group, they have did the movement in Nepal, and they have told me that they believe on me, and I can do. It is always problem in Nepal, This time is also a problem. We would try to solve the problem after unitedly. We will try to work only that.
The smoke from this building is still coming out. We can still see the smoke around this building. This building has fully got gutted.
Open area of the Parliament building, and now look at the condition, fully gutted. And in fact, these used to be the corridors of the Parliament of Nepal.
Brought to you by. This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
2 days after Nepal's dramatic Gen Z uprising toppled Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli, the Himalayan nation remains in political limbo. With the army enforcing curfews and patrolling the streets, uncertainty looms over who will lead the interim government. Factions within the Gen Z movement are divided, some backing former Chief Justice Sushila Karki, others rallying behind Kathmandu's popular mayor Balin Shah, engineer Kulman Ghising. The widely respected head of the Nepal Electricity Authority is also among the top contenders for the post. Nepal is slipping into a dangerous political vacuum marked by weak institutions and a fractured leadership, raising fears of an army-backed caretaker regime. According to intelligence source, the collapse of democratic processes has left the Nepal army as the most powerful actor in the country's governance, overshadowing civilian authority and peacekeeping.
We need an interim government for now, for which we have proposed Sushila Karki, because she was the Chief Justice and she has always been fighting for the corruption, against the corruption. That's why right now the first thing is the interim government, the second thing is dissolving the current parliament, and the third thing is maintaining law and order in the country. Our thing is, our country is getting the first lady prime minister. That's a beautiful thing. That's the win situation for all of the females in the country, all of the women in the country.
It was a totally peaceful protest, और हम चाह रहे थे कि शांतिपूर्ण ही हो, बट सरकार ने इसको क्रांति में बदला, हमें लगता है ऐसा है, और सरकार को पूरा रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी लेनी चाहिए इसको। हमने तो एक करप्शन के विरुद्ध आंदोलन शुरू किया था, और जो होना भी चाहिए, सब हर एक जगह के युवा को जागना चाहिए करप्शन के लिए। इधर नेपाल में 3% 4% लोग हैं जो सारा संपत्ति ले रखा है, और नेता तो सारे ही करप्ट है। जो अभी घटना देख रहे हो, इतना बड़ा डिजास्टर जैसे हुआ, वेस्ट, मतलब क्या बोले अब इसको, हम जो हम शब्द में बयान नहीं कर सकते इस चीज़ को। इतना लॉसेस हुए हैं, सारे गवर्नमेंट की जिम्मेवारी है और सारे गवर्नमेंट ने किया है। वी फुली सपोर्ट सुशीला कार्की जी। वी विल इन्वेस्टिगेट each and every corrupt leader.
What we need to understand is like our country is in threat, right? So for the sake of sovereignty, for the sake of independency, for the sake of sovereignty, independency, we have to protect our nation. That is the real scenario right here. So what we need to understand is like we should not fight between each other. We should take our own voice, make our own voice, and pitch them in front of the officials or the real stakeholder. That's the real thing I can say. I cannot say more than that. Thank you so much.
Your good name? Decision of the NDA to choose him as the next Vice President of India is being seen as a message to Tamil Nadu as well. Payal Mehta is with me on the phone line. Payal, CP Radhakrishnan's oath ceremony will begin shortly. We can already see visuals coming in from Rashtrapati Bhavan. And soon after, I'm told, these are live visuals that we are getting, Payal, and soon after the oath we are told, okay, Payal, interestingly, I can see Jagdeep Dhankar sitting there in the audience, first public appearance. Let's just weigh in on that first.
Well, to begin with, it is a constitutional post that C.P. Radhakrishnan will continue to have because his immediate task before this was the governor of Maharashtra. And that is something which is coming to the fore as well. But, you know, a lot of political niceties being shown over. Jagdeep Dhankar has suddenly cited health reasons at the beginning of the monsoon session of Parliament on 21st of July and stepped down immediately within a few hours of him, you know, making that official letter public. But you know, it is a big occasion as far as the NDA is really concerned. C.P. Radhakrishnan is somebody who comes in from the influential OBC community in Tamil Nadu. He is somebody that that the BJP has been waiting to see take one responsibility after the other. He's been somebody who's been Prime Minister Narendra Modi's friend. In fact, while recalling his friendship with C.P. Radhakrishnan, the Prime Minister said that they were friends when both of them had black hair. And you know, the Prime Minister made a very interesting observation when he was speaking about C.P. Radhakrishnan in one of the BJP meetings, saying that he is very, very fond of sports. He's greatly into sports, but Rajniti mein khel nahi karte hain. So that's something which is coming there, and this is probably the first time that Jagdeep Dhankar, ever since him having stepped down, has been seen, you know, in public as well. So, you know, political niceties are going to be there. You can see a lot of BJP, NDA chief ministers that are part of this gathering. There are, of course, opposition leaders. You can see Derek O'Brien on your screen. You can see G.K. Vasan. I can see Pushkar Singh Dhami, Ashok Gajapati Raju. All the governors have also been asked to come to the national capital. White smiles on the face of Devendra Fadnavis, who has been extremely instrumental, not just in making sure that, you know, C.P. Radhakrishnan got a nice send-off when he left from Mumbai, but also made sure that, you know,
of the United States, that it looks like the man who shot and killed Charlie Kirk in broad daylight at Utah University is in custody now?
Absolutely, and that confirmation coming in from the US President himself. He's announced on Fox and Friends that Charlie Kirk's assassin is in custody. I think with a high degree of certainty we have him in custody, and he's also, in fact, POTUS has also said that FBI will release the announcement later today. Remember, just yet the news story that FBI had announced a reward of $100,000 for any kind of input or intel regarding the location of the assassin. But it seems now the information coming in from the US that they will be able to nab the suspect had been, and ever since the assassination took place at the Utah University campus. There was a lot of study that went into, and they were able to zero in that the attack had in fact taken place from a neighboring adjacent building on the university campus itself. Much of it was taped as far as the entire assassination was concerned on a video. And we've also been speaking out to all those eyewitnesses who said that, you know, perhaps, in fact, they were indicating that the accused could not have run amok for very long from outside, say, Utah. And manhunt was already on for a couple of days, and we should now expect a formal announcement to come in from the FBI, Poonam.
Right, that formal announcement is expected anytime now. But President Trump, Akanksha, has also hinted that it's somebody that was close to the assassin. The killer here is who helped the FBI and finally ended up in his arrest?
That's, in fact, a possibility that has been weighed upon by the FBI itself as well. And we'll have to await, await a confirmation from FBI, and we'll have to see what the FBI, in fact, says about the identity. There were reports indicating that this was perhaps a hand by the far left. But what we can tell you is that Donald Trump, as someone who had been personally, politically very in tune and aligned to Charlie Kirk and how Charlie Kirk had contributed heavily to the US president's own campaigning and had stood fast, has ensured that the killer is put to trial. And we will have to see how this shapes up in terms of the identity and how this will lead to a widening political division within the United States, where we've been witnessing there's a rise in political violence, whether it is the assassination of Charlie Kirk or the multiple assassination attempts at the US president while he was campaigning. It also goes back to when we witnessed the United States on a knife's edge when the Black Lives Matter movement was on. But the conservatives have now already started taking pot shots at the left. And many from the other side are blaming the sharply divisive rhetoric that's been doing the rounds ever since Donald Trump took to power.
Right, Akanksha, do stay on with us. Just cutting across to coverage from CNN to get us more details of what exactly is transpiring.
Nature of this investigation. Obviously, it's a lot of pressure on these investigators to get the right person, but that work is still being done. The evidence is still being analyzed, and they're trying to make sure that they have the right person, and that work is still being done by those investigators in Utah. John and Kate.
Any information on what the president's also talking about the way that this person was found, that it was someone close to this suspect who may have turned him into authorities?
Right. That is also what we had been told by some sources in the overnight hours. It appears that someone close to the suspect saw those images and believed that it matched the description of the relative, and that person also then talked to their relative, and apparently the person made some statements that led them to believe that this was indeed the shooter, and that person then contacted the authorities there in Utah, the FBI and the state police and others went to go pick him up. Now, I think the first place they took him was to the local police department there to at least start the initial interview where the FBI has been working out of. But by now, I'm sure that the FBI has taken full custody of him and is doing the work to try to confirm the evidence. Again, what the president said, and by the way, you're telling me something. I literally just walked in the door. I was not aware that the president had said that. It matches to information that I and Hannah Rabinowitz and Holmes Librand here, we were doing the reporting in the last few hours. That's exactly what we were told as well.
All right, Evan, stick with us. Bring us more of your reporting, your great reporting as always. In the meantime, let's bring in Andrew McCabe is back with us. Andy, I want to play for everyone once again what we just heard from President Trump in this interview that just happened.
We'll try and get you more details of what exactly has transpired there, but shifting focus to what's happening here back home now. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is scheduled to visit Manipur tomorrow as part of a major development push in the state. During his visit, he will be visiting Churachandpur. That's where he'll begin his visit in Manipur. He will lay the foundation stone for a series of developmental works that are estimated to be worth 7,000 crore rupees. These projects are expected to significantly boost infrastructure and economic growth, not just in Manipur, but in the region as a whole. After that event, the Prime Minister will proceed to the state capital, Imphal. There he will inaugurate several projects that have already been completed, and those are valued at over 1,200 crores. My colleague Komalika Sengupta is on ground there in Manipur, getting us these reports.
The road which leads to Imphal to Churachandpur is heavily guarded by security, and obviously the VVIP will come, and you can see that in this entire route, this type of anti-mine cars, anti-mine vehicle, anti-bomb vehicle, bulletproof vehicles are being deployed in this entire area. Here itself we can see that 7 anti-mine vehicle and anti-bulletproof vehicles have been provided, and you can see that the security forces are keeping a very strong eye. You can see that the security forces are keeping a very strong eye, because security definitely is the utmost important thing, and this is doing the rounds in all the entire route from Imphal to Churachandpur, because this is the very sensitive area. So you can see that the security forces, they are keeping a very strong vigil in the entire route from Imphal to Churachandpur. This is just between Imphal and Churachandpur, just after crossing Bishnupur. For last 2 years, Manipur has been grappling with ethnic strife, violence, instability, loss of life. Presently, there is peace here. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is expected to come on Saturday with huge developmental projects. He's going to inaugurate, what we are getting it from our sources, is near about 8,500 crore developmental projects will be inaugurated by Narendra Modi. Here in Imphal and also in Churachandpur, huge arrangements have been made, because he is going to do 2 sabhas, one in Churachandpur and second in Imphal. Here in Kangla Fort, inside the Kangla Fort, he will have a public meeting here, and you can see that huge arrangements, security arrangements are being made. Senior army officers have been here camping for some time, and they have been checking all the procedures. Senior security personnel, all the senior officers are here, and you can see that huge security arrangements have been made here. And also in Churachandpur peace ground, there also first Narendra Modi is expected to come there, and from there he is going to talk to the people out there and have a meeting out there. From there he is going to come in this Imphal, and here also he is going to have a meeting. So definitely lot of hope and expectation. People are expecting that the Prime Minister will come here, and they are hoping that there is a huge fracture in Manipur. People definitely were in agony and are in agony, but they believe that Narendra Modi will come, and definitely some good news will be there. We'll talk to him. Sir, Prime Minister is coming. What is your reaction to it?
I'm very happy. In fact, that is what we all are looking forward for the last 2 years. And I'm sure that with his visit here, there is a ray of hope in bringing about a change in Manipur, and sooner the state will return to the normalcy. It will boost up the normalcy, and people do expect the Prime Minister to be giving some points regarding especially the situation which has really deteriorated in the last 2 years, and we all hope that it will help in bringing about an understanding, removing the trust deficit, and also bring about a confidence amongst the people with the central government.
It's written in all the banners and posters that near about 8,500 crore of developmental projects he will inaugurate. What's your take on that?
It is, we are indeed grateful to him for the various projects. But what the people are looking forward is not only the projects. Projects, we all are aware that when the Prime Minister comes, he will bring about a lot of changes, inauguration of projects, foundation laying stone of various projects. But what the people of the state are looking is some concrete steps to ensure that the fractured society is reunited.
Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. A controversial AI-generated video of Prime Minister Modi being scolded by his late mother has become the latest flashpoint between BJP and opposition. It comes just days after yet another controversial episode from a joint rally held by RJD and Congress in Darbhanga. The BJP says the opposition is crossing every line of decency. The Congress continues to remain defiant. They claim the video is a form of political expression, further claiming that the BJP is playing a victim card after routinely using personal attacks themselves. It's another matter that historically this has never worked for Modi's opponents. Every time they make it personal about him, it backfires. It also remains to be seen just how the public mood is on an AI-generated video of someone who was never in public life and is now no more. As the rhetoric intensifies, though, the big question is either side in a position to claim moral high ground? And where will this lead this election season? Today, if Congress defends this, wouldn't it become an open season on their leaders and their families too? Will they consider